Mindset Mechanics 101, Module 5, Strategy. Hey there, it's Carlita Wright. I am your host for these modules, this series of modules about Mindset Mechanics, the book. And today we're going to talk about strategy. Now, before we get started, I want to again give you an outline. We're going to talk about energy management, the mechanical engine system, the roadmap to success. I think you're going to find it very interesting of how there are no shortcuts to success and how we demonstrate that. And then we're going to talk about financing your business, the lean startup, the epiphany model, the basic strategic requirements for your business, and the roadmap to success. So let's go ahead and get started. This is another amazing thing I want you to consider. It's the question, how do you choose the right strategy? This is a great question, and we're going to really address it in this video. So in the Mindset Mechanics, we have what's called the mechanical engine system. And this system is the central hub for strategy. And it really maps out and helps you understand how to be more strategic in your business. So it seems like this whole concept of management of energy has contradictions, right? So here we go again. If you were to ask 100 people, 100 gurus, strategic gurus, how do you pick the right strategy? Now, a couple of them may say, hey, you use a lean startup model. They'd say, if it doesn't fit your strategy, go and interview your customers and your clients, ask them what they want, to ask them what they want to buy, and then build it. And that's the secret to being a successful strategist. Then go to another camp and they say, no, 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 you don't do that. Just follow the Henry Ford's model. And that basically says you have to build faster horses. And that's what everybody wants, is faster horses. So you need to tap into true innovation and disrupt the status quo and deliver them faster horses, faster of what they already have. Right? Can you imagine that? And then you hear another camp that says, well, you have to go and find a blue ocean. And you're like, okay, why did you do that? Right? So there are some conflicts and some contradictions surrounding how do you build a better strategy? How do you um, build a business that is aligned with where you're trying to go? So that's why we're going to talk about the roadmap, and it's all about energy management. So the goal of any strategy is to get energy from the surrounding environment and then to use that energy to power your business and to maximize that energy. So really what you're doing is you're selling energy in different form to different people, different clients, different customers. And you have to know how to harvest the energy, convert it, and sell it. So, what is energy? So, when I say energy, I'm speaking of the resources, the people, the technology, capabilities, and even the reputation that you have, the clout that you build in your business. So, um, right there, that helps you stand out in the marketplace when you have energy to keep your system moving. The more energy you can attract, and the more you can build over time, the higher your profitability can be and the higher performance and success will be. So the trick here is that the environment is always changing, it's always shifting, and your strategy needs to be as agile as the changing environment. And it must be evolving and it must adapt to the environment in order to capitalize on those capabilities and opportunities for energy extraction. Now, a way you can conceptualize this is with what I call the mechanical engine system. So you have energy and a form of fuel, and that fuel is used to give your engine the ability to move your business forward. And there are 4 life cycles that you must be mindful of that exist within the engine system. So each one of these life cycles are what's going to be used to help propel your business engine forward. And that is the business model life cycle, the product life cycle, the market life cycle, and the execution life cycle. The business model life cycle is the make and model of your business vehicle. This is the business that you have chosen and the model you've chosen to determine the overall success and behavior of how your business performs. The product life cycle consists of all the assets and the products you create and make available for sale. These are products and services or anything that you deliver to your customers. The market life cycle represents the type of customers that you're selling to, and there also is the execution life cycle, which is your organization's ability to develop new capabilities over time. Now, all 4 of these life cycles make up the engine of your business vehicle. They're your mechanical engine system, and they all need to be in alignment with each other. As you can see here from the business image here, this is the mechanical, the mindset mechanic interface, which is the mechanical engine system, which actually lets you see where you are in the framework of mindset mechanics. And once they are aligned, you are able to be more strategic in how you get to your desired destination. So now let's get to your desired destination by following the roadmap to success. So I call this the roadmap to success. And what this is at the top row is your business model life cycle. And then we go to what is called your product life cycle, which is your product prototype, iterative roadmap, development, operation validation, and continuous improvement. This is the cycle for your product's life. And then you have next the life cycle as a whole, which is a part of your execution life cycle, and it's the sprout, the seed, the sampling, the aging of your tree as a business, and then your tree will be dying, and then it will start all over. Sprout, seed, sampling, aging adult tree, and then a dying tree. And the bottom you see of this roadmap to success is the type of customers you will be dealing with. This is your market life cycle. And these are they're in the fast lane, the middle lane, slow lane, exit ramp, or they are even in the exit ramp of their business purchasing process. Here, I want to talk about how the execution roadmap looks. Here, as you can see, there's a flux between development and stability. Whenever you're looking at strategy, you're trying to make sure that your business is able to develop and is stable and in order to grow the way it needs to grow. So this means that when you launch a new business and when you are going through the life cycles change stages, you want to notice how the roadmap to success is dynamic. It's always changing and developing between the two, development and stability. And that's what true systems do. They flux between forming and responding to their environment. And as your organization grows and things become more stable, you never want to treat your business as if it's the same way it was in the last life cycle. You want to adapt and change with each phase and give the phase what it needs. So let's go ahead and go now into the first phase, which is the business model life cycle. So the business model life cycle, I rearranged it so you can see how it looks in a different way, but it's the same life cycle. And then we go to the product life cycle, which consists of the assets you make for sale, and they go through their own life cycle iteration. Then you have the market life cycle I mentioned before, which is the fast lane, middle lane, and it ends the exit ramp of a dying business market life cycle. And then you have execution life cycle, which is about stability, of course, and creating new products over time and renewing its life over time. So, when it comes to any system, you want to ask, how do you choose the right strategy for each one of those life cycles? And how do you align those strategies? Well, the roadmap to success helps you visualize and implement alignment in your system. So, and the first is the fast lane. And the first thing you want to notice is that um, you're in the sprout stage. So this is the beginning stage of a business. You're focusing on prototyping your business and getting the business off the ground, getting an idea that's innovative enough to be able to meet those who are in the fast lane. It's very important that you are prototyping a product for your customers in the fast lane. And those in the fast lane are the type of customers that you see in the world that they get it. Like they are ready to purchase, they have money in their hand. And they're also very creative and disruptive and visionary, and they challenge the status quo. In their worldview, they see far out. They can see what shall be, they can see what's going to come before it actually arrives in the present view. And they're always curating ideas, getting the latest technology, the latest trends before they become a trend. They are trendsetters. So you want to collaborate with those who are in the fast lane, those innovative types. You want to give them prototypes of your product. And this means that they will benefit from your thought leadership, and they are going to be the foundation of your business as you're in the sprouting stage, because they're sprouting as well. They have seed ideas, and they want to conceptualize them and see them come to fruition. So if you're establishing a thought leadership business that's with fast laners, what you should see is slow market growth, because there are not a lot of them there yet. They are trying to accomplish something that has not been done before. And the reason that it's low, because they are really innovative. They are really disrupting the status quo. They are going against the grain, and the world has not figured out what they're doing yet. And they are not seeing the world and the problems the way the rest of the world does. So you want them to come on board, but they're innovative and they get what you are saying. They get it. Like they understand, and what you are sharing aligns with their values and their vision, and they want to come along. So they have a perceived practical alternative. Like they understand what's out there. They perceive it. They know what's practical, and they know the alternative. They know that you are the best solution for what they're trying to do. So if you're doing this right, the rest of the world would think you're crazy or slow or stupid, right? But those who are in this lane, they say they are set apart from the rest. They understand a boom before it happens. Just think about the cell phones. Like they were carrying large bags and purses of a cellular phone. People thought they were crazy, and they spent lots of money for these cell phones, right? But that was what was needed to get us all into the smartphone era, where people are now, everyone has a phone. Some people have two phones. And that starts out with those who are in the fast lane, the innovators, the creators, the visionary, the disruptors. They go against the status quo, and they really push the envelope forward. So before there was, an Apple, there was a Steve Jobs, right? He was very innovative and creative and really pushing the envelope. So I want you to notice something, that when you are in this phase, the fast lane, prototyping a product in the sprout stage of development, it's expensive because you're spending a lot of time and energy on creating, and there may not be the funds to support what you're doing just yet. So it's expensive to maintain this, in respect to relativity. But as the market begins to grow, this will change. But for now, you have to know that you have to charge in this phase your clients a premium price to make up for, the slow growth as you begin to build momentum. And because you're paying a premium, because you're providing, giving value to the innovators who get it, they will have no problem with paying that price. So your premium is just a small price to pay to those who get it. They get they're curating ideas. They want the best and latest and greatest. They'll pay like those individuals pay for those cell phones back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, right? They get it. They understand what they have in their hands. So naturally, the pricing pressure for a business at this stage would seem very high. But because you've learned that in the fast lane, customers are expecting to pay. They're expecting for you to charge them a lot because they are paying for exclusivity. And you have to focus on meeting their core problems while also being able to sustain your business. So you have to charge at a premium. Now, if you do this right, you will show up as a thought leader. You have become the leader who is doing the things to have what is needed to have. And you have become that thought leader first and share innovation, share what you're doing, share what's working, because they need that as they are creating their businesses and their systems and pushing their organizations forward. Then you have the middle lane. Now, when you've come to this lane, this is where you start to work with a different type of customer. So the way you approach them, it has to change. In the middle lane, customers are different than from those in the fast lane. Middle lane customers, they have a pain. They have a problem and they need it solved now. They actually need it solved yesterday. And they don't care if you're a Fortune 500 company, they don't care if you're a startup. All they want is their problem solved, and they're willing to work with you as long as you have an aspirin for their pain. Now, if you've done this right, what will happen is you've already shown a lot of thought leadership, which is needed because these people in this lane, these customers, need to be educated. They have they're looking for an experience and they need to understand why. So you got to give them time to learn and catch up with what's going on and why they're having the pain. But they really want the pain solved. They don't understand the solution. They don't know what the solution is. They only know the problem. They are specialists of the problem that they have. They can explain it to you. They can rehearse it. They can break it down, but they really can't see the big picture because they are so entrenched in the problem. Now, they might not be ready with the core offer you may be giving them, the big universal solution right now. They only need it in iterations. They need to be spoon fed right now and making sure that they're growing properly. You have to iterate the solution to them in stages. And and as you begin to solve one level of their problem, they begin to feel some relief. They'll come back for the next layer and the next layer and the next. And so over time, this allows you to learn more about their problem. It allows you to extract information, to interact with them, to learn from them. At the same time, they're learning, they're interacting, they're growing, and they will begin to see, okay, I see it now, but they're going to see it in layers and by drip feeding them information, one problem at a time. So remember, at the sprout stage, you show a lot of leadership and you innovated for those in the prototype phase of innovation and fast lane, but now you are drip feeding, right? You're giving them a different approach. You're solving smaller problems and iterations for the middle lane. And over time, they'll be prepared. But right now, they're not ready for you to give it all at them at one time. They need it in stages in order to grow. They need to be educated of why something should matter to them or why you care about their problem. Now, based on your efforts, what should be happening at this rate is that the market will start to grow. You'll start seeing more people come with different problems that you can help solve. And because you've built your thought leadership and you start documenting what you've done, you're beginning to build momentum, right? You're beginning to show evidence. And because it's done an iteration, it allows you time to get it right. It allows you to get to the core of the problem and understand the real stages of growth, understand what's really going on at the core level because you have time by working with them and interacting with this phase. And so you want to really pay attention to them, and you want to demonstrate that you have understood their pain, you've done your research, done your study, and you are really sure of what you're talking about. And now people will start referencing you. They'll start giving you testimonials. They'll start giving you case studies, and you have documented proof. And you're building your track record of results at this stage. So, what's interesting is that this is where you start to build a compelling story, right? Of what your business does, how it's giving results. And if you're doing it right, there should be few competitors. They're not going to really know what you're doing just yet, right? You're not making a whole lot of noise. You're more focused on serving. So you're not making a lot of noise in the marketplace, but you've also shown thought leadership, like I mentioned before, and you're proving that you can solve a core problem. And here you're making more. And because you're not selling a core product, but you're able to break your core product into many products, right? But they're paying more over time. So the pricing pressure lessens, and you're making more money, you're getting more clients, you're solving more problems, but you're doing it in stages. Now, you should be more focused here on breaking down the core problem, like I mentioned before, and really understanding their roadmap, right? It's the iterative roadmap. You're understanding their journey and their story and what they've done in the past. They're going to be very talkative. So you really want to interact with this level because they're very talkative and they're really engaged. They want to learn, and you're teaching them and documenting the process for them along the way. So I'll go into more about this later, but I just want to make sure you understand that you are really building a story here and documenting and building your thought leadership because you're going to need these elements as we get later into the development. So you have to do these things right if you want to build out your team, establish your business structure, and have the right business model working for you in the best way possible. Next, we have the sampling, and this right here is the slow lane. Now, when it comes to this lane, you're going to start seeing development and growth. So now you're starting to see the tree take place, right? The tree is beginning to grow, preparing for adult stage, but not there quite yet. Just like the adolescence, teenager stage, right? And here you want to start to see, you're going to start to see profit margins. You're going to start to see systems working for you, and you're going to have already proven that what you've done in the middle lane as a seedling actually works. You've already proven, documented, and you have the thought leadership you need to really be able to move forward. And you're starting to make a little bit of noise, right? You're starting to really draw attention, and you're starting to prepare for growth. Now you're going to also see competitors start showing up because you're making noise and they're starting to pay you attention. So they're coming out of nowhere and trying to see what you're doing, right? Don't be afraid. Don't be alarmed. This is perfectly normal and okay. You're starting to get attention from the larger market, right? But you're not threatened because you've already built your name, your foundation through thought leadership. You documented your results, right? You've got your core product locked in. You have your supporting products locked in. And now that you're at this stage, competitors are just now showing up, and they don't know what exists below the level of water for your iceberg, right? All they see is the tip of your iceberg. So they're not going to see how much you prepare yourself. And most of them will think you came from out of nowhere. But you're going to be like, no, I've been here for a while. I've been working, just been quietly working. And your competitors will realize they really cannot beat you. So they either have to pay you a premium to learn from you, or they have to ask to join your club and join your team. So it may be tempting at first, but just keep your bar high and make sure you pre-qualify people who try to attach themselves to you. They may not all have the best intention. So make sure that your values and your vision aligns before making any partnership deals, before doing any strategies of growth with people. Make sure that you align because you are still growing. And There are people who might want to take, but you want to make sure that you build the strongest and best business. And right now, your focus is should be on growth and scalability. You're trying to grow and scale. And we'll get to partnerships later. So don't be tempted. Stay focused on what's important here. As a sapling in the slow lane, you're trying to grow your organization and continue to build momentum. Now, as you develop at this stage, your margins are going to actually start to increase significantly. And the pricing pressure that you once felt from the first two stages start to lessen because now you are benefiting from economy of scale, right? You're not concerned about competition, you've done a lot of the pre-work. And during this phase, you're starting to produce multiple streams of assets and multiple streams of income that you've already created products. Now you're making them more available at scale. So those things you've done in the past are now starting to really come to deliver results for you, and different price points you need, different product types and different services you need to have. And your competition is going to be surprised and wonder how you did all this in a short amount of time. And now you're really starting to see profits at this stage because now you're generating positive returns with volume and scale. And you don't really want to launch businesses at this stage. You really want to go through the entire life cycle and do it right because it builds foundation for you and it helps you grow at the right stages in the right cycle. So just know that you can take the time here at this stage to grow, going to different markets, different demographics, repackage the problem to a different audience because you're building your ecosystem that you'll be able to tap into later. But you're building an ecosystem and you want to solve problems that exist for different customers because you've already built the track record, right? You've already built a track record and now you're trying to build from the past success and carry it over and carry it forward. Now we're entering the entrance ramp, and here you're trying to prevent it from going to the dying stage. And here it's continue to grow, continue to flourish, and you are at a stage where you're just building and building momentum. Customers are going to come and go. They're not really innovative here. It's pretty much set in stone. There's the structure's already set. The customers in the entrance ramp don't want to go to the fast lane. They don't want to be innovative. They want to buy when things are commodity. They want to reserve energy. They want discount. There's discount buyers in this lane. They're trying to get in and out, right? Trying to get what they need and get out. There's a lot of pick me businesses in this space, right? It's very crowded at this level of development. Lots of adult sized trees. Now, what's happening on the market level is that the market has started to slow down because the problems are being solved and things are beginning to stabilize. I mentioned there's not a lot of innovation happening here, but there is lots of competition and it's a commodity space. And what's happening is pricing pressure has shifted. And now the prices are being pushed to be as low as possible. And you can combat this pricing pressure by repackaging your products and services to meet this market, right? To fit this market. You're going to be where it actually can scale and it actually meets what they need. So you may hear begin to introduce partnerships and sponsorship deals, and then your margins may be lower, but if you do it right, you can still profit in this level and really get the best value out of this phase of development. So it's very lucrative if you do it right. But if you don't, you can also lose because um, it's based on driving prices down. But you've already done the work before, so you have the systems and programs and name recognition and brand and team already in place where your price is set and you will not feel the pressure and you have income coming in from the sampling stage products you create. You have product coming in from your core product. You have product coming. You're still serving the other lanes, but when it comes to this lane of customers, now you're just addressing them a little bit different with your strategy and making sure you're giving them the right value for the right price. And you're using your name recognition to help bring them in. And then finally, you're at the last phase of the exit ramp. So once your business and your product and your services begin to lose their value, now it's time for you to decide whether it's time to retire this product or to recycle it back through the system. And what happens here is that this phase, the data, the resources, the information, the services become material to feed the rest of the life cycle. So it's not lost, it just changes form, right? It's not destroyed, it just changes shape and form. It's still there, working underneath the ground as foundation, but it definitely doesn't have the innovation that it wanted before, but it's used as material now to support the rest of the life cycle. All right, so now I want you to notice that on the roadmap to success, there is a path we take, and we tend to take the long way around the square, right? So we start off with the open business model, which is where I want you to be. This is where I recommend everyone start with, the open business model that interacts with the environment. And what's happening is you're starting off as a sprout, right? You're being very innovative, you're prototyping your business, and you're in the fast lane, serving fast lane customers who have their money in hand, who get it. There's few of them, but they get it. And as you grow, you're going to now begin to go into the sprout stage or the startup seeding business of a middle lane. And they're very adiabatic. Their spark and go out, spark and go out, spark and go out. But because of their need to take little information at a time and give them time to implement, right? Give them time to apply what they've learned. They need the iterations. They need an adiabatic business model to be able to grow in stages and phases, and allows you to align your core product to really understand their problem. And then we go to sampling, which is where we begin to become more closed as a business model. And it's time to scale, right? We're really focusing on slowing down uh, the business model in a way where we can control it. And we're focusing strictly on growth and scalability. Volume and margins is the focus here, because you have to go into the adult stage and begin to give more products, start creating offspring, start creating supporting itself, right? So this is like the adolescent going to adult. You have to give it time to grow and make sure it has what it needs to become a strong adult tree. And now notice we're on the roadmap to success, and now we've made it to the adult stage, which is more isolated, right? And here in the adult stage, you've tried your best to stay away from a dying business on the exit ramp for as long as possible. Now, if you do this right, the sequence right, you will go around the box. Go around the box, right? It's the open business model. And what's happening is you are creating maximum value and marketplace awareness. You are making very smart decisions and timely investments that relate to your customer and your market. You are maintaining your pricing margins, and you are focused on your product and services. You've made yourself into a thought leader, and you avoid the commodity trap for as long as possible. So you went through all four stages of the life cycle. But there are some mistakes that can be had. And I see this very often. This is where you start from the wrong position in your business, and you pick the wrong strategy. You pick the wrong business model life cycle to start with. So we're going to go over these business models and how it looks if you start from these areas versus an open business model from the start. So the first shortcut people make is a mistake you make from the beginning. It's an isolated business model. And here you're trying to prototype a business. You start off right, but you immediately go into commodity market, right? So you've already isolated your business from the start. And what's happening is that you're trying to solve a problem that no one cares about, right? Or you're trying to solve a problem that no one knows they should even care about, and they don't have any value to the solution. They don't care, and or quite frankly, the problem's already been solved. So as a result, you never establish any margins. You never establish thought leadership. You never get the chance to really go up against the trenches and really compete in a way that brings value to the marketplace. So you actually just crushed your business by all the pressure that exists from going from sprout to aging overnight, right? You've put your business directly into a commodity, right? You've taken their prototype and you devalued it into a commodity. And this takes too long, if ever, for you to build the margins and get the profit you really want. Now, I would never recommend anyone to start their business off in an isolated business model. But if you find yourself here, theoretically, now I'm talking about theory, you could you could prototype your business into a commodity market, but you have to first show thought leadership. You have to explain why your approach is different. And then you must take the time to follow the iterative roadmap for the middle lane seedling customers. And then you have to scale it for growth, but not go directly into to commodity. You cannot go directly into to commodity and expect good results. So the main problem here is that the margins are just not there. And if anything happens to the environment, there's shift in the market or the economy, you risk going out of business. You risk absorbing lots of debt. You're putting yourself at a high risk. So you must take time to grow the business and go the right way and not take shortcuts. Again, I don't recommend this type of business model as a strategy for anyone. Now, the next mistake I call is called the closed business model. And it's like a flame, right? But it goes out. And what happens here is a very visionary entrepreneur tells an amazing and a compelling story, and they're able to secure financing, or they have sold a previous business, so they have the funds from that previous sale, and they have a vision that's crystal clear to them themselves. So because they understand where they're trying to go, they build every single feature and every function they can imagine that makes this thing work the way it works in their head. And they say, if I build it, they will come. They have that syndrome. If I build, they will come syndrome. And they are going to go for a global release right off the rip, right? Right out of the gate. And they try to scale it too early. They haven't interacted with anyone. They've built their business in a closed business model, right? They haven't spoken to anyone. So they don't take time to follow the iterative roadmap. They in the seedling stage, so they don't really understand the core problem. They only spend time on their assumptions. They don't understand the spending priorities of their customers and clients. They haven't documented any evidence or any results. They haven't iterated correctly. So they start off and they flame out because they built everything on a lot of assumptions. They've made all this noise, right? They're making all this noise, all this money's being spent. They're going straight into the scaling stage, all this exposure, lots of excitement, and then poof, right? What they built overnight goes completely out. It just loses its momentum. It flops. You might see this in a software company that may have an entrepreneur who just does not want to um, get the proper validation. Instead, they confuse free trial signups as success, when you really cannot base your success on free trials. You have to iterate and prove it based on dollars, right? You have to have actual dollars to prove and validate whether a concept, a product, or a service is actually going to work, right? That's the only evidence you have to follow when you're on the iterative roadmap. And you only get it from the seedling phase of development. Anything else is just assumptions and preconceived notions, and it's just out of order. It puts your business out of order. And we understand thermodynamics is based on order, right? So customers will buy it, they have to come back for upgrades. They have to go to unlock the next level or access the next level. And when they buy it, they should be opening new seats for new team members. They should be extending their contract. They should be repeat purchasing, right? These are indicators to show you that they're spending more money, buying more. And that validates your product is working. Now, if your business is more of a direct to consumer type of business, then you want to look at your advertising dollars, right? You want to see that customers are using your product. They are spending more time engaging with your product or service. And if you're advertising, are they coming back more and more, right? They're repeating and re-looking at things. So your metrics will be a little bit different, but you're looking at repeatability. You're looking at, the frequency when it comes to more advertisement type of services. So the goal here is to avoid flaming out. Avoid the shortcut that causes you to flame out. You really want to prototype it in the fast lane, which is your foundation. And then take the time to invest in your seeding phase by iterating the roadmap for middle laners, by using the adiabatic process to spark and continue to learn and grow what is needed and what are the problems in that phase. And while you're iterating it, you're documenting the evidence, you're proving that you solved the core problem, right? You're building out your teams, you're building out your structure, your management systems, and you're making sure you're prepared for scale and for growth. So this is the a common mistake that I see of taking shortcuts, is that businesses grow too fast and they scale too quickly and they phase out. And here's the last and the final error that I see in business. And this is more of a lost opportunity. And what I mean by that, so it's it's categorized by the adiabatic business model. And what's happening here is the business starts off doing everything right. So they start off in the prototyping phase, the fast lane. They got a great business idea. They're doing great business. They go into the middle lane for the seedlings, and they begin to go through the adiabatic business model process. They're beginning to charge premium prices. They have a core product. They're starting to understand the problem, right? And they're building awareness between their product, but the awareness is dry. Like it's one sale per quarter or one sale a month. So it's so slow. The sparks are not sparking. And when they spark, the customer's not able to build the momentum. So they're not able to get to execution fast enough. So they lose opportunity. And what's probably happening here is that there's too much friction, too much inertia in the business that it causes them to lose opportunity, right? Maybe there's co-founders don't get along. Maybe there is a misalignment of values, but there's something happening here that when they are making sales, they're not able to convert those sales over to document their process. They're not able to build thought leadership. They're not able to really get to the core of understanding why a customer needs this problem solved, because other distractions are competing. So as a result, they actually kill a business, right? And it dies because it's not able to grow because the focus is off, right? But what also happens here is much time is wasted and so many gaps, and they don't know what to do. So instead of trying to pivot the business or shut the business down and trying to restart and do things over, they act out of desperation, and they immediately take what they have, the products and services, and go straight into the isolated business model, and they begin to drop their prices and try to sell it for something, because at this point, like, the passion is gone. So much time and energy has been wasted on internal conflicts. They have no more innovation. They've forgotten their story. They don't know why they're doing anymore. The distraction is gone. The heart is gone. And once an organization, once a leader, once a team loses its heart, it's like an apple on a tree that's dying, or grapes on a tree that's dying on the vine. It's really a lost opportunity. And it's pretty sad to see that happen, where you're starting off right, but there's a misalignment, and it just cannot take off the ground and gets choked up by its own internal problems, and then pushes a good product into commodity zone. So we're talking about business models, and it's only appropriate that we talk about money, right? So as you're beginning to grow your business and go around the curve, the long way around the box, sometimes it's helpful to understand where your financing will come from. So when your business is when your business on the left side of the chart, you have fewer cash flow streams. And on the right side, you have everything on the left side plus the right side. So just know that when you're starting out in the sprout and seedling stages, you don't have as many avenues for revenue streams. But as you grow, the revenue streams increase, and the investors and type of investments you can receive, it also increases. So let's start here. So when you first start in business, you're in the sprouting stage, you're in prototyping, you're with innovators, you're fast laners, open business model. And the investment here is going to come from your time or your money. So you got to put in your time or you put in some money. And a lot of times the money may come from friends, come from families, maybe your savings, right? And you might even find professional investors who specialize in providing seed capital, but they're very rare and very far in between. So the revenues from the startup sprout phase is really going to come from your premium sales. Typically, if the customers you bring in, you're going to charge them a premium value, which allows you to focus on creating more value for those in the middle lane. So the friends and family, and even the professional C capital, they're investing in you, right? So they trust and they like you. They might not understand, the investors might not understand what you're trying to do, where you're going, but they do know you, and they understand what you are about. Now, the customers, they get you. They're investing in you as being the person to solve their problem. So they go a little bit further, and they know you're going in the same direction, and they're willing to join you on the journey. So those are the investors you have. You have C capital investors, which is either your savings, family and friends, professional C capital investors, or maybe even the clients who are innovators who are investing in the solution you provide. Then we move up the chain to the angels. They're angel investors. They're in the seedling stage of your development. Now, here you've shown a lot about leadership, and people are starting to follow you. You have the iterative roadmap, and so the angel investors, they might not fully understand, but they have a problem, and they have to bring in revenue and bring in value to their investors. So the angel investors, they're starting to trust you more. They believe you have what they need. The business model can provide what they need. There may be some roadblocks, but they're willing to bet on you. They're willing to help you solve your immediate problems. They may even help develop you, provide you with services and education to help you grow. Because they believe that you are on the right path and they know you need some development or some help to prototype your idea, your product, your service. So they will help you document and get the evidence you need to bring the return they need as angel investors. And then we go to the middle lane, which sorry, this the next lane, which is in between the middle lane and the slow lane. And this is your venture capitalists. Now, your angel investors can introduce you to venture capitalists who specialize in sharing your product or service with others. They need evidence. So, as you're building all the documented proof, they'll help refer you to venture capitalists who can help you get down the roadmap and scale your business. Now, your business needs the right team here, the right introductions. You have to have the right structure, the right cash flow, the right documented proof to show that you're bringing in money, and and once we scale it, you can really grow. So they're looking for just the right activities to be able to attract the right investors. And once you move towards um, the late slow lane, which is on the other side of the sampling, you start to hit, growth. And typically, this is where you'll see your corporate investors come in, and they want to fill out their own product market suite, their own offerings, their own products, right? They're willing to partner with you. They're willing to bring on consultants. They're willing to license your product or service, right? To white label it. And sometimes corporate investors will invest in you early when you're at the seedling stage, right? They want to get you while you're still researching and developing. They may buy you out. They may even, try to bring you on board. But if you get this right, and your message is right, they will begin to fear that you're going to be something big, right? They're going to fear that you're going to blow up, and you're going to take them and you're going to take them out to dinner, eat them for lunch, and discard them. So they don't want you to disrupt them. So they would rather work with you while you're small, buy you out while you're small, and get rid of the competition before you actually grow into a competitor. So just know that the corporations will be looking at you at the seedling stage and the sampling stage, and they may try to take you out, absorb you, and bring you into their fold. But their goal is they want to grow as well. They want to go along the journey or be a part of the journey. So just be mindful of corporations and how you interact with them and what your position and relationship will be. Maybe you do want to sell to them, but just know that if you have a good product or value, you might want to increase your value by documenting well, building the proof, and then commanding your price. So keep that in mind as you grow with this level of investment. And then you go into the private equity and public partnership. Now, typically, the private equity and public partnership plays very late in the life cycle, where you're at the entrance, even the exit ramp. You're a commodity. Here, it's all about discounts and financial factoring, but if you wait late in this phase of financing, and if you show differentiable value, you can increase and command more value than most. So you want to make sure that you are seen as a sole source provider. Like you're the only one that can do this, right? You are the best kept secret, and that will command more value, better rates, and more a higher relationship with them, a more value relationship with them. So things that you need to know is that it how you present yourself, it matters. If you can show that you're different, and you show up when they are in a crisis, right? Then you can increase your perceived value. What I mean is this: when it comes to financiers and private equity investors, they have they have demands, they have suppliers, they have to meet their needs as well. So typically, private equity and public partnerships play they will wait. They will play the waiting game, and they will compete in markets where there's scarcity of opportunity and finite resources, so they can command better value, but or get the best of what's available and to give lend out to, right? But what happens is sometimes it gets hard for them, right? They get in tight spots, and they will begin to lessen their requirements, and they might even begin to act like a venture capitalist, or a venture capitalist may act like a government. You might see a government agency act like a corporation, but what's happening is they are funneling and trying to finance people based on a funnel. And you have to make sure you're positioned in a way where you are seen as being a higher value than what they're trying to push you down as. So just keep that in mind, that if you present yourself at the right time, you can really get great value from these partnerships at the right time. And here we are at the lean startup. We mentioned it earlier. And the lean startup is all about customer driven agile development. So being agile and being able to change and grow. And what I'm seeing is a lot of corporations are trying to learn as much as they can from smaller corporations and trying to be more agile. So you're really in a good position when you understand the lean startup and even the epiphany model. So Epiphany model has 4 steps. Two main ones exist, and it's about customer development versus product development. So the customer goes through discovery, or you go through a discovery of find your customer and then validate the customers actually exist. And then you create a product for them, and you create the business that supports the product. So Steve Jobs was a good example of us intuitively knowing what customers wanted and building for them. But we're not Steve Jobs. So we have to go through a process that prototypes, that iterates, and that scales. And then we have to sustain the growth and stay out of a dying phase for as long as possible. And it goes through these 4 steps of epiphany. So with the discovery, you are meeting with customers, you're interacting with them to get them to buy, and then you're going to sell what matches what they want to buy. You validate that the customer actually exists and they actually are buying what you're selling, and they're putting their money behind it. And then you're going to have to understand their needs and create a funnel and get them into the funnel as quickly, as cost effectively as possible, without wasting any extra time or energy, and the least amount of effort as possible. And then, of course, you're building a business that sustains itself, that you continue to learn from, that documents processes, that doesn't waste any energy, but really gets you to growth as quickly as possible. And when it comes to building a business and being very strategic, you have to talk about the basics of strategy, which is alignment, resources, and competence. Alignment is basically with your vision and values, your mission and goals, right? Your interests and styles. Those have to be in alignment before you can do anything with strategy. If any of those core are out of alignment, you're going to have problems down the line and wonder why you're not able to think forward to the future, because those 6 elements are out of alignment. And then you have to have the resources, right? Your company has to know how to find and source the resources, which is the staff, the finances, the team, the energy, the technology, the capital, to be able to get what you need done accomplished. And then the last requirement that is foundational is competence. The company has to have a core competence and experience to be able to do what you're trying to execute, or your strategy really won't be effective. So you've got to have all these in alignment, and your passion has to be there as well. and you have to be able to get the resources, execute on the resources, and be very confident. After all these base requirements are in position, then everything else on the roadmap holds. It is able to flow and to be effective. So, how do you figure out if you're on the right path, if your strategy is correct? And it starts by asking yourself, where are you now? You have to know where you are at this moment. So it's about mindset. It's about starting from where you are, right? Your locality, where you need to grow and develop from. If you're in Portland, Oregon, and you want to get to Miami, Florida, you first need to pull out a map, right? You got to have some type of instruction to get you where you're trying to go. But if you say, well, I need to first move in the right direction. So once you know where you are, you then have to move in the right direction. And once you're going in the right direction, you start to look at how they relate to business, right? It's the same exact way. You ask yourself where you are now, determine where you want to go, position yourself, and then you move in the right direction. And then you go into the mechanical work, which is more straightforward. From here, it's all mechanics. You pick the right business vehicle, you align the business components, the business model, the roadmap, right? You align everything, and you start to get to work. You produce the the produce the life cycles. You produce the product in stages. So it's like any other business, right? You have to go through the iterative roadmap. You have to make sure that you are producing results for your customers. You want to make sure that you recognize how much time and effort is being made to iterate the products and services, the results you're getting. You want to document your evidence, and you want to make sure that you are solving a core pain, and you have started at the right stage of prototyping first. So it's the same way. And there you have it. So when it comes to strategy, there is a process to it. It's a process to how you build strategy. We've discussed the energy management, how your job as a leader is to manage your energy, because your energy is what's going to be used to fuel the engine of your business. We've also discussed the mechanical engine system and how it operates, and how the four components of business model life cycle, the product life cycle, the market life cycle, and the execution life cycle all impact the performance of your engine. We've also taken those components and put them into the roadmap of success, so you can see how they interact with one another, how they trigger the other to execute a strategy to get you to your desired destination. We've went over the models that show there are no shortcuts to success. You have to take the long way around, and an open business model is the best way of doing that. We went over some financing for your business, whether it's seed capital, angel investors, venture capitalists, corporate investors, or private equity public partnerships. The way you can know which type of financing is best triggered at your life cycle development stage. We've also talked about the lean startup, how important it is to start off lean, and the epiphany model, and how those stages align with the laws of thermodynamics. And then we also discussed some of the basic requirements for being strategic, those three core components: alignment, resources, and competence, right? Those are the three basics. Without those three, you're going to struggle with creating a strategy. And then we went over the roadmap to success, which is really knowing where you are and knowing where you're going, right? So you're doing the mindset work, and then you're doing the mechanical work at the same time to get you to your desired destination. So that's what the strategy portion of the book talks about. And now we're going to go into execution. And in execution, we'll put it all together so you can see how it all works together.